This is Eric Fondren, CEO of Free ATM.
Create your life.
Create your life.
So my daily schedule usually starts about 6 a.m. That's when my newborn daughter wakes up and she's hungry for the day. So usually my wife has the nighttime shift. So in the morning I take a little bit of time to feed my daughter, change her, enjoy some hours in the morning with her before I go to work. At the same token, I am answering emails and planning for the day, so setting up follow-up items, who I need to speak to during the day, as well as any tasks that have high priority for that day or for that week. And so I'm into the office about 9:30, and from there we have a 10 o'clock stand-up, so the entire team stands up, talks about what they did the previous day, what some of their blocks are for the coming day, and what their tasks are for that day as well. And then we all move into our individual tasks. Most of my morning is usually filled with meetings and or calls. And at that point, it's into the lunch hour where it's somewhere between 12 and 1, depends on whether or not teams head down coding, whether or not I got calls backed up in the logs, and what the particular plan is for that day. After that, usually in the afternoon time is planning out technical objectives, whether that's something for the new project for our software application, and or planning out any other types of new endeavors that we're talking about for the organization as well, whether that's new features for the platform or new business development deals. And then usually during that time frame, in the afternoon time frame, I speak to my wife at least once per day just to see how things are going on with her. And then from there we move into the evening hours. Now, depending on whether or not that day is the end of a sprint, we do code releases every 14 days. So if it is the end of a sprint, the day is going to be a little bit longer so that we can push the new code into the environment and then test it to make sure it's working properly. If not, then most of the team leaves somewhere around 5:36 on an average basis, and I'm home by 6:37 just to pick up again shifts with the baby, as well as getting fuel for the night and just following up on any finalized tasks for the day. And then we wash and repeat from there. So in terms of creating my life, my defining moment was when I had seen my father after a few years. So somewhere around the 32nd year of marriage, my parents decided to get a divorce. It was fairly conflicting for us as children, and unfortunately during that time frame I didn't see my dad for a while. We spoke, but I hadn't seen him in person for a few years. And so I made the decision to go down to Mississippi, where he has an underground house, in order to see him. And when I got there, lo and behold, he had finished building a second underground house. Now the first one's going on 30 years old. It's a concrete shell with about 4 feet of dirt over the top of it, underground house. He's building a second one for his sister, because his sister is now retiring, and he wants to have all of his family around him. And so the defining moment was really a come to Jesus moment that I had internally with my own conflicts, as well as a relationship restarter with my father, where we were on a different, well, at least I was on a different page in terms of how I related to him. I was no longer a child, I wasn't at home, I graduated college, living on my own. I had a different idea of what it meant to be a Fondren man. And so I saw him, the fact that he finished his second house and going on 2.5 years. He was not only the general contractor overseeing the entire project, but a great deal of the work he did himself. He's like walking around with his abs open, he's got his shirt open. He's like 60 years old, and it's hilarious, but it's a beautiful thing to see because it shows you what's next in life. But the one defining moment, the one thing I took away from all of that was that if you want to be successful, just do the work every single day. And that's one thing that I've seen him day in, day out do. He gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, old military man. His bones can't take sleeping in bed that much any longer than that. But he is consistent about his goals. He knows what they are, and he will spend the next 30 years trying to achieve them with no hesitation, no look back, no fear or doubtfulness about how much it's going to take. He's just worried about being able to take that next step and that next step. And so from there, that really changed how I approached my goals in life. And my wife will tell you, I'm not a plan B type person. Like, I don't have plan Bs. Plan A is going to work because there really is no other choice. And so I really believe that that came out of that defining moment. So how do I stay motivated while trying to achieve my grand vision in life? I have my, what I call inevitable motivators: my family, my new daughter, my parents, my sisters and brothers, all these people that I want to be successful for, and then all these people that I have to be successful for because I'm responsible for their livelihood. But then outside of that, I also have an internal motivator, something that kind of just tells me, listen, in order for you to be happy, to be satisfied with the life you live, then you need to do certain things in life. That's probably due to the fact that I'm an alum of Morehouse College. I have a father that spent 22 years in the military, and his favorite word was integrity. You know, these are all things that motivate me to be a better person on a continuous basis. I want to add in there that at some point my mother picked cotton for $3 a day. So there's stuff in the back of your head that says you have no choice but to do good because you have no excuse to not do good. But then in order to keep that motivation up, in order to keep myself going on a regular basis, there are things that I need to do in order to re-level my emotion, to get back to ground zero in terms of who I am. Usually that, thankfully our building has a roof deck. I'll go up to the roof deck and catch either a sunset or the sun coming up. It's a beautiful view. You can see all the way into Brooklyn, as well as you can see the entire Manhattan skyline. That just helps me ground myself. I am a bit of an outdoors person without wanting to actually go camping. Just like fresh air though. And then outside of that, spending time with my daughter, spending time with my family is like an uplifting scenario. You get stressed out from work and you just got to be able to put it to the side and spend exclusive time with your family. Just to keep those bonds going. In the same token, I'll go back to Texas and everybody in my immediate family and some extended family will come together for a big Christmas celebration. So that's another example of that. And then outside of that, I have to read. Like I have to digest words on a page. Now that's not necessarily a 1,000-page Alexander Hamilton bio, which you should read if you haven't yet. But it's also, you know, I love a good dramatic story, so I tend to read manga, and all manga are very dramatic. There's always some martial arts involved. There's always some underlying story that says if you have to work hard, and if you work hard, the results will come. Again, as you can see, I have certain mantras that I live by, and I usually reinforce those based on the things that I read. But all of that helps me stay level-headed and remember that my emotions and the work that I do on a day-to-day basis, even though they ride side by side, they can be separated, which helps me keep my head in a rational space most of the time. So how do I decide who I'm gonna pick up the phone for? That really depends on what I'm doing at that moment and who it is that's calling. Not everybody can get the phone answered on the first ring. Not everybody should get the phone answered on the first ring, but everybody, I believe, should get a call back. Now, you don't necessarily, it's very difficult to be that thorough to call back every single body. I know that I've failed in that scenario, but running a business, one of the things that I realize is extremely important is follow-up is just as important as follow-through. Meaning it's just the next step. It's just the next step. Just call one time, and that will lead to more consistent and more thorough follow through. And so you should call back everybody, but the people that you should pick up the phone for on the first ring, second ring, third ring are the people that are going to provide the most benefit, people that are going to support you, and people that don't necessarily have people that have a reciprocal relationship with you. I've touched on it before, but it matters that if they're calling you for something they have in the past, or you have confidence that in the future they're going to be able to provide that same relationship. And that happens over time. Some people shift categories. You realize that you used to believe you need to pick up the phone for them all the time, and now you shouldn't pick up the phone, but maybe a call back or a different type of communication will help you control that particular relationship. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that all humans deserve respect, and if you lead by that example, then you'll have most of your relationships will be healthy relationships that will lead to fruitful endeavors. The three things I would tell someone who's looking to create their life are, A, just try it. Just try it. A great deal of times people are scared to even jump into a new life. B, don't look at it as a 0 to 10, 0 to 60 type situation. Look at it as a step 1, 2, 3, 4 every single day. If you can write out 4 steps you're going to take every single day to achieve or to create your life, I guarantee it'll be created by day 366, because you'll be consistently focused on moving towards that goal. And so actually, really and truthfully, the third thing is be detailed in the short term. The long term is always going to be vague because it's going to continue to change. But if you're focused on being very detailed in the short term, then you'll be able to sidestep any issues that come up, but also know consistently, if you take step A, what the next 3 steps you can choose after that are. It's like playing chess. You can think 3 steps ahead. You may not be so successful at thinking 10 steps ahead. So just be really good at thinking 3 steps ahead, and you'll always be prepared for any type of situation in your road to success. Create your life.
Beautiful people, I'm Kevin Y. Brown, the host of the Create Your Life series, and I want to say thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this short segment, then you'll love the full interview. So please listen, share, and subscribe to our podcast.